Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Guido Goes Off. This is another episode in my installment of Top 10 Finishers. You've probably seen my Top 10 overall finishers and my Top 10 Tag Team Finishers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the ladies' turn. That's right, I have another Top 10 Finishers list. This time, the Top 10 Women's Finishers. So, gonna get right into this. I really don't have any honorable mentions, but right off the bat, I do have a tie. At the number 10 spot, I have a tie. I felt that both of these finishers belonged on my list. I like the women that perform the finishers. The finishers, do what they're supposed to do. They finish a match. And let's get into it. Okay, so I have a tie at number 10. It is Becky Lynch's Disarm Her and Rosemary's Red Wedding. I'll go into the Disarm Her first. Becky always having that quirky character, doing what she does, at least as far as interactions and promos and that. And then you get into the ring and she's, really serious about her craft. And when you get to that point where it's time to put it away, is she going to finish the match or is she going to take that arm home with her? Because, let's face it, Becky's arms are jacked. And you get to that point, she's got her body weight on you, pulling at that arm. You're just wondering, it's basically, a tap or snap situation. And, I have a soft spot for submissions. I'm sure some of you know. And, let's face facts, we all want to be her opponent's arm. Come on. But, it's, it goes with her wrestling style, it goes with the character, and once it's cinched in, I don't think too many people have gotten out of it. So that's why the Disarmer's here. Rosemary's Red Wedding. Yes, I know it is the F5. It's the same as the F. It's it's a. But it's effective. It's always effective. I mean, the woman used it to win the Knockouts title. When everybody was rooting against her. I just keep, every time I think of Rosemary, I keep going back to that match, that steel cage match where they're trying to determine the Knockouts champion between her and Jade, and everybody's like, oh, they're talking up Jade so much. Oh, Jade's awesome. I'm saying they're like, Rosemary, win. Shut these people up. And, oh, sorry. And, what shuts people up quicker than the Red Wedding? And, of course, the Game of Thrones reference. It's, which was one of the most shocking things that show's history. Of course, you read the books. It was really no surprise, but... And you've got the combination that goes perfectly with Rosemary's character. And it's, it takes some strength to put some of those women in that situation. So that's why I wanted to make sure it made the list. So that's my number 10, the tie. The Becky Lynch's Disarm Her and Rosemary's Red Wedding. On to number 9. It's a situation of knowing what your limitations are and finding a way to work around them. And put your opponent in a very uncomfortable position. Number 9, AJ Lee's Black Widow submission. It's very reminiscent of. I mean, it's very. I don't know really how to describe it. I mean, it's mostly the running octopus stretch, which and of course she's going right after that. In most cases, the right arm. When she puts it in. Now, AJ Lee was, still one of the smallest competitors in the Divas division at, like ever. I mean, I'm willing to bet, she might have been 90 pounds if she was holding two 10-pound weights. And so when you're that smaller person, you have to work around your weaknesses and turn it into a strength. So getting all over your opponent like Spider Monkey definitely works. And, it's racked her up a lot of victories. Remember, you're talking the second longest reign in the Divas Championship history. But like I said, it's very effective, suits the character, suits her physical abilities. And so that's why the Black Widow makes number 9. Number 8. We all know I like crazy chicks. We all know I like a move that fits the character. We all know I like a name that fits the character. And we all know I like seeing something devastating. And you get all of that in my number 8 finisher, Daphne's Lobotomy. It's basically a spinning fisherman's buster. I know it's clearly good because prior to his neck injury, I know Tyson Kidd was using it as his finisher prior to when he started using the sharpshooter. Like I said, it's just, it's one of those things that it kind of came out of nowhere. And you get that, just that slight bit of hope before she brings you to the ground. And of course, the name, it fits. It's something that, because it's, and it works. I mean, it's too bad we didn't get to see it too much because injuries plaguing Daphne's TNA career, and she was really starting to grow in that character and really help the Knockouts division help put the Knockouts division on the map. And so that's why she is here. That finisher's here because honestly, that looked like it hurt. I wouldn't. There's things I wouldn't want to be in no matter what. And so number 8, Daphne's Lobotomy. Number 7. We all know how I feel about the person. But I am willing to admit the move is devastating. And that's why it's here at number 7, the bank statement. Sasha Banks is backstabber into I don't really know what to call it. It's not I guess bridging crossface. Or more, I really don't know how to describe that part because it's not the camel clutch because she's not riding. She's not on top, on top like that, but it's off to the side. Like a headlock mostly, like a bridging headlock. Yeah, we'll go with bridging headlock. And it's again a situation of someone who's a smaller competitor working around her limitations and basically putting everything you got into that move, and it looks like she puts everything into that move, and it cannot be a pleasant experience, no matter what. And again, I like submissions. This is a submission. I can always go for that. I can always appreciate a good submission. And like I said, she's racked up quite a few victories with it, and 4 women's championships. 5 if you count her reign as NXT Women's Champion. But and that's what the move does. And that's what finisher's supposed to do, and it makes a statement. This move makes a statement. So number 7, the bank statement. Number 6, this is up here more for sentimental reasons but it was also pretty ingenious, pretty to look at visually, and also pretty dang on devastating, and that is Lita's moonsault, or the Lita salt. Now, if you have to go back to the early 90s or late 90s 2000s, the Attitude Era, if you will. And this is a time, when women's wrestling was, what women's wrestling used to be. Of course, you had Trish Stratus and Lita really taking the game to the next level. And Lita, prior to that, you didn't see, at least from women wrestling in the United States, that lucha libre style. For those who don't know, Lita was originally trained in Mexico, and so she learned the lucha libre style. And it was exciting, seeing guys do it, but a woman doing these moves at that time was unheard of, and it shows off skill and timing. And of course, we've seen a lot. Now fans are jaded. You see everybody has some sort of top rope move, and you see it. We've seen a lot of moonsaults, but with Lita's, it was always more of a driving moonsault, and she could cover a lot of ground with it. And something flying at you, you don't want. Depends. Who's a Lita? And like I said, in that way is what it's why Lita was groundbreaking in her day, and so that's why it makes number 6 the Lita Salt. Number 5, after seeing this move recently and having and watching it, I'm thinking to myself, this is pretty freaking cool, and that's why it's now made this list at number 5, and that is Candice LeRae's Miss LeRae's Wild Ride. Of course, probably a lot of more fans were introduced to Candice LeRae via the Mae Young Classic. So a lot of people simply know her as Mrs. Joey Gargano, but if you see some of the stuff from like PWG or on the indie circuit, it'll make you cringe, because she'll get in there with anybody. She will mix it up with anyone. But then putting on the finishing touches, the icing on the cake, if you will, is that second rope neck breaker. It's not often you see a move like that done by women, let alone off the second rope. It's usually like now you see, like when people go to the top, women go to the top rope, you're seeing splashes or crossbody blocks or the occasional Charlotte moonsault. But seeing that swinging neck breaker, and it is as advertised. It is a wild ride, and that's why I ranked it up here this high on this list, is because it's something different. It does get the job done, and it's just pretty cool. So that's why at number 5, Miss LeRae's Wild Ride. Number 4, something else a lot of fans have been recently introduced to, and we're like, where the heck has this been all our lives? And I am talking about Kairi Sane's insane elbow. We've seen a multitude of elbow drops. We've seen, Randy Savage did it, and even the women. Ashley Massaro used it as Starstruck. Bailey has taken to using an elbow drop. But it's when you take a basic move and turn it into a work of art. It is performance art, the way Kairi Sane does this elbow, because she jumps and then she's getting like, and then she's getting her legs up there. It's like you're literally every last bit of her is going into that point of that elbow, and despite you know, being one of the smaller women on pretty much any roster, and being you know, and having to fight against, you know, bigger, stronger competitors, you have to have something that no one's seen before, and an elbow drop like that no one has seen before. And I'm glad they fought hard to let her keep that move, because, you know, again, effectiveness, you know it's coming, there's nothing you can do about it, and of course the wow factor. So that's why at number 4 is Kairi Sane's Insane Elbow. So, ladies and gentlemen, on to number 3. And you knew this was coming. You knew there was going to be a page move on this list, but the question was which one. Well, for this list, since I've got one on another list, for this list, the Rampage. Now, the PTO in and of itself is devastating, but I have that on another list. And so that's why the Rampage is going on this one. Because Cradle DDT, you know, she just hooks him up like that and then just dropping him down. It's pretty freaking devastating. You know, of course, it does show off, much like her other moves, her deceptive strength, which I hope she's getting back. As we all know, she's at the Performance Center working on a comeback. Now, you know, like I said, in and of itself, you know, if the move is done by anyone else, it's still a devastating move. Anyway, you slice it. You know, she's basically picking him up, got him in the cradle position, and then dropping him down on her head. Owie. Owie, owie, owie. And the fact that it's, you know, another tool. If she doesn't get you with the PTO, she's going to get you with this one. So that's why at number 3 is the Rampage. Number 2, the reason I have this move at number 2 is because of the versatility of the practitioner in which she can use it. I know it's a basic move, but it's not done in a basic way by this person. It's Shayna Baszler's rear naked choke. As we saw through the course of the Mae Young Classic, where she was in the semifinals, she can use the rear naked choke like Randy Orton uses the RKO. That move can come literally out of nowhere. I know she countered a cutter with it. She countered Miss LeRae's Wild Ride with it. She's put it on in ways that is very inventive and very ingenuitive. And it's interesting when a submission has quick strike capability. That, in and of itself, is really amazing, and is a testament to Baszler, who she's only been in the business for a short time. I think she's only been wrestling for 3 years. I mean, you know, she has her MMA background. With you know, as you know, she's one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA. But to show that kind of versatility, switching it to the ring and doing this move in such a way that you have that quick strike capability. A quick strike submission, that's scary. That is scary. And that's why it ranks so high on this list. You know, 1, because of submission, 2, quick strike capability. That it can come at any time. And so number 2, Shayna Baszler's rear naked choke. Now number 1, this is a move that ever since she started using it, this move makes me cringe. Because it just looks like, it almost looks like the person's like dead after she applies it. And it's kudos to the person working with her for selling it like that. But you have to admit, this move does look pretty devastating. My number 1 finisher, the Widow's Peak. Of course, done by Lisa Marie Varon, who people know either as Victoria from WWE or Tara from TNA. But in both places, she used the move. That stretch cradle neck breaker. And like I said, it's just that, putting that opponent afterwards in, to use a fighting game term, basically like crumple stun, because it just looks like it hurts. It and the Canadian Destroyer, still two moves to this day, make me cringe, because you're worried about that other person. Are they okay? You hope they're okay. I mean, counting down for 3 seconds, but you hope they're okay. And so, when you have a finisher of that, with that look, and that evokes that type of concern, concern for your fellow man as a wrestling fan, that says something. That says something to its effectiveness, and kind of the dark nature of the characters, and like I said, it's just a wicked looking move. And I don't keep gushing about it, but like I said, it still makes me cringe to this day. And so that's why it ranks at number 1, The Widow's Peak. Well, that was my list of my top 10 favorite women's finishers. I'm looking to do more of these. Of course, if you want to see some more, let me know. And so what do you think of this list? What women's finisher do you like that I didn't cover? Let me know, of course, in the comment section below. And as always, feel free to speak with me via my social media. And of course, like this video, share it with everyone you know. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We got another subscriber. Thank you very much. And if you haven't subscribed, please join the few but faithful. So until next time, I am the Guido, and I think we're done here.